Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 60 of the Matt and Matt O-Skill Trainz podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt Rochford, and with me is my co-host tonight, Mr. Johnny. Johnny, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. We're one match short tonight, Matt.
He's fired again.
He's on and off again as our payroll team must hate having him on there.
Well, yeah, he's unfortunately not able to join tonight, but that's okay because we still have a guest. We actually have a trio tonight.
Before we get going with tonight's episode here, we'll just hit some of our basic maintenance items, and then we'll move on to the show for tonight. So as always, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, of course, that's our home base, YouTube, as well as Amazon Music. We also, of course, have the Discord server, which is now beyond 200 members, and it's quite the happening place. You know, it's just something that we've talked about a lot on the show as a community aspect and just something that's always really great. It's a public Discord, so anyone can join it. We'll throw a link in the description of the video here. And because this is a public Discord, you will have to acknowledge that you read the rules, as this is a community server. Great group of moderators, of course, including us three hosts. And so we always make sure that everybody is treated with respect and is very safe in our community here. We have a new URL for the podcast, and that would be mnmpodcast.com. Find us there. All right, so then lastly, we'll talk about our Matt and Matt merchandise. So if you want anything with our logo on it, be it, a button, a coffee mug, a sticker, a hat, whatever, you can go to redbubble.com and you can look up Matt and Matt, and you will be able to find us there.
Before we start, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Trainz.com. If you are looking for a great deal on used and new model railroading products and want top-notch service, then please head over to Trainz.com, where they have over 120,000 products with new ones added every day. You can also sign up for their newsletter to see newly listed and newly discounted products and receive advance notice of upcoming promotions. Now, I've been using Trainz.com myself as well as my co-hosts, and we highly recommend them to our listeners.
Now, if you're like us and you're always on the lookout for your next engine, join the Trainz Rewards program to earn points on every purchase and unlock future discounts. And if you're an avid collector and want first dibs on new items, sign up for the private car membership to get early access to new listings, earn 5 points per dollar spent, and unlock great benefits like no questions asked returns.
Now, guys, don't forget that you'll need parts to keep your engines and cars operating smoothly. And to do this, Trainz has a collection of 15,000 plus parts available on their website for any item you may need. And also, if you're interested in downsizing your collection or know someone who is unfortunately leaving the hobby, Trainz also buys collections. So head over to sellmytrainz.com to get a quote. And Trainz makes it easy to sell your collection.
Now, if you do plan on buying from them, please use our affiliate link, which is www.trainz.com/MMOP. You can also use our unique one-time promo code, MMOP, for $10 off a single purchase on the Trainz.com website. All right, well, let's talk about tonight's episode. And like I said, we do have a guest, and our guest tonight, well, we want to welcome Peachy from Peachystrains. Peachy, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fine. I appreciate you taking your time to come on to our little humble podcast here and talk with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for joining us.
All right. Well, let's get down to it. But I did want to cover one point before we get started, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Now, we all know the model railroading industry has a large population of men, so no big surprise there. There's certainly a good number of females as well, but I think it's just safe to say that the majority are probably male, right? So, um, so I would like to have a brief discussion about females in model railroading, but I don't want that to define you, Peachy,
Mhm.
and nor do I want that to define the interview either, because our reason for interviewing you is, based on your channel that we love, and of course, you're a very entertaining content creator as well.
Thank you very much.
hmm However, there are a lot of women and young girls who might be interested in getting into this hobby, and I think you make a great role model.
Thank you very much.
Now, I would also like to give a nod out to Angela Trotta Thomas for all her work in the industry, and of course our favorite ladies at Lionel, Megan Fraser and Corey Harwell. All right. Well, now that I've made everybody really uncomfortable, let's 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 go ahead and get started. So I asked this with all of our guests, Peachy, and that is when and who got you started in model railroading.
Yes. So it was actually fairly recently that I got into model railroading. It was my husband, actually. So, one thing about me, I'm a huge nerd, which I think kind of comes with the territory of being a model railroad YouTuber. But I am obsessed with Harry Potter. So, last Valentine's Day, 2022, my very first train set that I got was the Hogwarts Express, which was super exciting. We actually, not a lot of people know this. I did do a feature video on it, but I have two separate layouts technically. So the first one that we did started in our library. My dad, my husband, and I made a ceiling layout for the Hogwarts Express, and it kind of snowballed from there. Our anniversary is Leap Day, another fun fact. And for Leap Day, he bought me the Pokemon Lionel Lion Chief set. And we just kind of kept going from there. And March of 2022, we decided, let's build a layout, let's expand on this hobby and see where it takes us, I guess. But I, didn't really think about it before recently, I guess, but I've always kind of liked trains. That was like the big thing when I was little and I was in the back seat of my dad's car. We'd get stopped in North Dakota. That's where I'm from originally. And there'd be a BNSF going by, and I'd get super excited and always looked for the caboose. And then they stopped having cabooses, and I was extremely sad when that happened. And then at Christmas time, my mom always had a train set around our train or around our tree. And that was one of my favorite things, playing with that train set in the Christmas season. And that was one of the biggest things that I always made sure she pulled out. So I guess there's kind of been something my whole life, but it wasn't until last year, when my husband bought me the Hogwarts Express, that I actually really got into everything and kind of went from there.
I think you make a good point that it's never too late to get started in model railroading.
Yes. And then, as you know, my channel that started, honestly, RBP Trainz was a huge role model for me, I guess. We started watching other YouTube channels to get inspiration for our layout, and I love his stuff. I think he's hilarious. His videos are great. There are several YouTubers out there that have been an inspiration for my channel. But I noticed you kind of mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, there wasn't a whole lot of females doing YouTube videos with trains. And I thought that was a niche that maybe I could help fill. And like you said, be a role model for other women to get into the hobby. And, that's one of my favorite things, is to go to train stores and train shows with my husband and pick things out together, and it's a great bonding experience for us. So it'd be great if other women would like to do that too.
Yeah, you are our first female content creator for YouTube.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yep, it very much is, and I'm sure there are more. Maybe I'm really hoping that there are.
Hmm.
I haven't really, I come across channels as they come up, and people either send them to me or, I'm, I run specific railroads, so I'm always looking for those types. Like I'm a big Santa Fe guy and everything, and BNSF guy, so I'm looking for people that are usually making those too as well. And I don't remember how I came across yours originally. I'm trying to remember. It was one of your first or second videos that you did, and I don't know. It was very, you're very charismatic, and you came across very positive, and that's definitely one of the things here on the Matt podcast that we look for, obviously, in individuals.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I really do have a fun time with the hobby. I think the only time I've ever gotten frustrated at something is when it's something that I do wrong, like my last video when I had water decide that it didn't want to stay in my lake area, and that's it. But I really do enjoy it, and I really love making the videos. I have a great time doing it. It's just a great hobby to get into, honestly.
It's a great hobby when you have fun actually making the videos as well, because that's how I kind of started making videos as well, because I really enjoyed the hobby and I just wanted to kind of show what I was doing in the hobby. I was so excited about the hobby itself. I'm
Hmm.
like, well, why don't I just like film what I'm doing or film some trains that I own and talk about them? And that's when you're really clicking in this hobby for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is always a fun time, and coming up with new ideas and stuff. It's a nice kind of getaway from the day-to-day grind.
Now, I got to hop in here and also say I really enjoy the scenery you've done on your layout and your past layout, your new layout as well. Like I'm looking at your channel right now, your channel banner from the top down with the lake on the side, the little farm scene, and then the downtown area. I just love how it all comes together. It's something that makes for such a cozy and inviting scene. Are you a big scenery person? And if so, what's your favorite projects you've worked on so far for that kind of stuff?
Yes, I really do enjoy the scenery aspect of it. That was kind of our deal when we first did the layout. Was he was going to do all the train stuff and I was going to do all the scenery and design stuff, which I still do most of the scenery and design stuff, but now we both get to do trains and play with the trains. I think honestly, my favorite project that I've worked on so far is the water features. In my latest video, I talk about doing the one on my initial layout. And then I did one on my dad's layout, which I show in that video as well. And then this most recent one. And I just have a fun time seeing how the water effects and everything works. And it just looks so cool, I think. And that's one of the most satisfying parts. Um, I think that's my favorite. But I also really enjoy getting to use the drill and putting trees all over the layout. So that's a fun one too.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, Matt and I are big scenery guys. In fact, he and I we'll go to each other's layouts and we'll bounce off each other. There's times when we'll invite each other, we'll invite one another to each other's houses just stare at our layout and plan each other's layout and plan stuff together. But working on the trees is a lot of fun. One of the guys on the server actually recently, our buddy Greg was telling us about super trees, which are trees that are super detailed that you can kind of build from your own. They're like a plant-like material that you paint and you add leaves to, and they look super cool.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Might have to check those out.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But you made mention of your dad's layout, and if memory serves me right, he has an HO layout. How did he get into that?
So yes, he does have an HO layout, and my husband and I drug him into it as well. So all around the same time that it started for us with our layout last March, we my dad's birthday is at the end of March. So we bought him the Bachmann. It has the BNSF, Canadian National, all of those cars in it, set from Hobby Lobby for his birthday, and brought it over. And my husband just kind of decided, hey, we're going to put a layout in your house too. And so we did. And I had no idea that he was into trains or that he liked model trains or anything. But we were over there a couple weeks ago. My sister was in town from back up north, and he was talking about how he had always wanted a model train layout and just never done it, which, like I said, I had no idea. So that was kind of a cool thing to learn and to help him get that. So I also get to do all of his scenery, and design his layout a little bit too. So I kind of have a 2-for-1 deal.
That's awesome. It's also a nice way to see a kind of, most stories you hear in the hobby are, oh, my granddad or my dad got me into the hobby. It sounds like it was the other way around. You got your dad into the hobby.
Yes. So yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, and it's interesting seeing the difference between, O gauge and HO gauge and that kind of stuff too. So
Gotcha. Well, Matt, I'll hand the mic back over to you, man.
All right, let's go ahead and pivot here. What is the origin of your YouTube name?
That's a great question. So like I said, I'm from North Dakota originally. I moved to Georgia. It's where my husband was born and raised. We met in grad school in Tennessee, and he started calling me his Georgia Peach as his nickname for me. And so that kind of stuck. And I'm Peachy. Most of our online friends, we play World of Warcraft. I told you guys I'm a nerd. So I have been Peachy on World of Warcraft and all of that kind of stuff on our Discord online for 7 years. And so when it came time to make the YouTube channel, it fit right in. It was just, yep, it's Peachystrains. This is what we're doing. And it just kind of followed in line with everything else I've been doing for the last 7 years.
So really, really important, probably the most important question I'm going to ask you, and I hope you answer it correctly. So, Alliance or Horde?
Horde.
Oh, that's the correct answer. All right. We won't dwell too much on that. I'm also a World of Warcraft player for a very, very long time. I was playing during the beta of it and even other games like that before then, but we won't go down to that. That's for another discussion for another time.
Sounds
good. All right, so let's move on down to probably my favorite question here that I ask everybody, and it's probably regarded as the most difficult one, and it puts people on the spot. And I want to know what your favorite railroad is and why it's your favorite railroad.
Okay. So I have one. I technically have two, but I have one that's like my all-time favorite. It's Atlantic Coastline. So it's kind of random because I didn't grow up in the Georgia area or anywhere that Atlantic Coastline ever did run. But when we started getting into this hobby, we started looking at the different engines that were available that we could model. And the color scheme, honestly, is what hooked me in initially. And then I started looking into the history of Atlantic Coastline, where it ran, all of that good stuff. And I also feel like I've formed more of an attachment to it because it's so hard to find Atlantic Coastline anywhere. They're expensive when I do find them, and it's just not a lot of people carry them. So I just kind of get it. It's like an Easter egg hunt all the time whenever we go to a store or a show or anything, to see if they have anything Atlantic Coastline. And in this area in particular, it seems like there's kind of a group of people that secretly kind of, I guess, are looking for Atlantic Coastline. And we come across each other and we're like, hey, you like Atlantic Coastline too? And, it's a whole big kind of community of that, because a lot of the main ones are like Norfolk Southern and, Santa Fe and New York Central, all of those lines. But Atlantic Coastline is one that is more rare, and I like that about it. My other one is BNSF, and that is because I grew up in the north where BNSF is prominent, and I used to see the trains running all the time. So that one's just kind of inherently, I have to have a little soft spot for BNSF, which is hilarious because all of the other lines that run on our layout are southern lines, and I have to put a little pocket in for BNSF so I can get my BNSF run on the layout too.
Yeah, gotta love the orange.
Yes.
Gotta have some orange on your layout.
Yes.
Johnny has orange on his layout, but it's not BNSF orange.
I have too much daylight stuff on my layout. So just too much to say. I don't have enough daylight stuff on my layout.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that you were colorblind or something in a previous podcast?
I am.
You
I'm
are,
colorblind, but not too. It's like I don't remember which. It's like duratophobia or I don't remember the names. Well, actually,
Deuteranopia,
yeah,
by chance?
Yeah, it's red and green. Well, it's weird. There's one that's red and green, but the other one's green and red, right?
Mhm.
Because it depends on like how you interpret those colors. But
Yes.
yeah, so it is one of those.
One of the things. Yes.
But Cascade Green is Cascade Green, so it's not. I wouldn't say I'm very strongly colorblind. But there are when there's certain shades. Yes, definitely. I can have some issues there, but nope. Cascade Greens on BN's good for me, and I can always see that BNSF orange all the time.
Yes, that's the important one.
If you can see daylight orange, Matt, then we can be friends.
That's back to your original answer though for ACL. That is first of all, I think you're the first person to ever give that answer for ACL. But secondly, that is a really cool railroad. I love their color schemes. They're like, don't they have like a bluish or purplish?
It's purple. So
purple. It is purple. Okay.
Yep, it's like purple and yellow is their big thing, and then their steam engines were like this really cool gray tone. That I just love those too. So, yeah, that's the purple and yellow kind of pulled me in, which has nothing to do with the Minnesota Vikings, and I am not a fan of those. So, don't let me into that.
Wasn't there a ACL in one of the last two Lionel catalogs, Johnny?
Oh goodness, that's a Matt Z question. He would know that.
I don't mean to put you on the spot there. I was just thinking off topic if there was. I remember there. I think it was an F unit. I don't remember it was like or maybe it was an E unit.
I think it was ACL. From my experience, at least for O scale, is very iconic for the giant E units they had. But I'm pretty sure. I think there was a Lion Chief one that was like a Jeep or something like that. I think you might have it, Peachy, or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I do. Yes, it's a GP7.
Okay. I was about to say because I know you got some. You got really lucky at a recent train show and got the matching Premier cars recently.
Yes,
if I remember
did.
correctly. And those are fantastic.
Ooh.
Thank you. Yes, I love that. That was a very exciting find. They were never opened. So they were like almost 30 years old, sitting in the original box, still sealed. So that was super exciting to find.
Oh wow. Are you more of a freight person, or are you more of a passenger person, or you just do whatever suits your fancy at the time?
So I personally like the look of the passenger cars, but we do tend to run more freight on our layout.
I can't blame you there. Matt and I are big passenger guys. I think Matt owns a gazillion passenger sets, and then when I try to run a freight train at his house, I'm struggling for cars.
Like what are these things? Do they? If they don't have people in them, I don't want them on my layout. So
I don't think you have much of it. The only freight cars you have are either box cars or cars that make animal sounds. Matt.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. I have a lot of coal hoppers too.
No, I guess so, but they're all modern. You don't have as many.
Yeah, they all are modern. Yeah.
That is one thing that I need to get more of is coal hoppers, but that's okay.
You can never have enough coal hoppers.
Yes.
I have a lot. I think I haven't even opened up that BNSF set that has even more coal hoppers, but I think I probably have 20 something Burlington Northern / BNSF coal hoppers.
Wow,
for
that
sure.
is that is a lot.
That is like yeah. And I don't really run freight, so why do I own these? I have no idea.
Wait, you talking about the BNSF set that you got from York of last year
Yeah.
that you still haven't opened yet?
No.
See, this is how
I'm
people
a collector. I'm a collector too, Johnny. All right.
see, Peachy. This is how you get sealed in box pasture sets for 30 years. Is people like Matt.
So in 30 years, if you see a BNSF coal train set,
It's yours.
you probably know who's selling it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we actually got two. We got the Atlantic coastline, and then we also got a Southern Crescent passenger set that was unopened from the same seller at that show.
Oh yeah. I remember that. That's a beautiful set. You were running those side by side in your video.
That
and
is
they
a
look great.
fantastic looking set.
Thank you. Yeah, I love them. They are probably my favorite cars right now. Anyway, well, I shouldn't say that. I have a Penguin car that I just got that the penguins like actually move in the car. It's really cool. I haven't shown that on the channel yet. That's one of the next ones coming up, but I'm obsessed with penguins also, so.
Well, very excited for that video.
Yeah.
You said that you got those from the train show. Since you're newish to the hobby, considering you've been in the hobby for about a year, what were train shows like for you when you first started going?
It was wild. I did not know what to expect. I was kind of nervous. I think my first train show, I had actually already hit affiliate with Trainz.com, and they're local here in Georgia. And so I was walking around and just kind of taking in all the sights and sounds and all of the, trying to figure out, oh my goodness, what am I going to spend my money on and what can I, you know, live to part with and what do I absolutely have to have. And we walked by the trains table and this guy comes kind of jogging up to me and he goes, "Hey, I know you. You're Peachy from Peachystrains." And I was like, holy cow. Yeah.
Isn't it surreal when that happens?
It is. Yeah, it was wild. I was not expecting that at all. Or no, I don't. That was a lie. I didn't have affiliate with Trainz yet. So he had recognized me just from watching my videos. And they got my information at that show. And then after that, they got into contact with me. But that was just wild because I think I only had 2 videos up at that time. Just very new to the whole thing and to trains in general. Still when I went there, but the train show was it was really fun and it was really cool to see the variety of people that go to the train show and get to enjoy it, whether they're part of the hobby or if they just want to walk around and see the different models that are set up. Lots of kids. I should have known that. Was not expecting that many kids, but that was really cool too to see, probably 100 more kids running around the train show. It was a bigger train show, the first one that I went to. So that was really fun. I'm glad that they exist. It's a fun time to go out into the real world and interact with other people that enjoy the hobby, I feel like. And so yeah, it was wild. It was not what I was expecting at all.
Do you have a show that's like monthly?
So we don't have shows that are monthly, but we have had a few shows in our area or close to us recently. So I think I have gone to 3, maybe 4 at this time. The big one was in Duluth, and I think that one is an annual show. And then we have a model railroad museum that had a train show not long after that. Like it was like 3 months in a row that I just happened to be able to go to train shows in different places. And then one of them, we went on vacation skiing in North Carolina and just happened across on our way up. There was a train show. And so we stopped at that one too, before we went skiing. So it's just been, I guess, the luck of the draw that I've had so many recently in my area.
Wait, you can go skiing in North Carolina?
Yes, you can. It's not real snow.
How do you do this? I'm more concerned about that than the trade show.
It's all powdered mashed potatoes, man.
Okay.
It is ice, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, but there is an area. There's a mountain. There are mountains up there. They make.
Oh
big
yeah,
snow.
that's true. See, you're talking to like a Midwestern flat. I'm a flat person here, so
What's a hill?
so we don't have any mountains that we can climb here.
Hey, listen, I grew up in North Dakota. I think we are possibly the flattest state in
It's true.
Yeah.
You have a lot of lakes though, don't you?
Minnesota. Minnesota is the land.
Oh,
of
Minnesota's
10,000
lakes. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah. We've got Lake Sakakawea in North Dakota though, which is like a huge lake. Big deal.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw us off topic there. Actually, speaking of now going to shows and everything, is there any plans on going to York?
I would like to. It's one that I like. It's kind of a bucket list thing for me. Still being kind of new, it's a little overwhelming to think about, but I definitely want to try to. But with my husband and my profession, it's a little bit hard for us both to be gone at the same time. So we have to plan that far in advance.
That's understandable. I do, and Johnny and we did a couple episodes where we talked about it, but we do highly recommend folks to at least go once if you can. Obviously, if you have the means to go and you have the time to go, everyone's busy, but it is worth it just to go once and experience it, because it is quite a lot of fun, especially when you go and you meet people that you've spoken to online, or for us, we got to meet listeners of the podcast, other YouTube content creators. So it was a fantastic time, and I'm sure Johnny could attest to that.
Oh, for sure. It was a happening time, and getting to see, have so many halls of just trains to just look at, and the folks there are all really, really nice. Being able to meet folks from the community are great too. I mean, I think last year alone at Fall York, all the YouTube guys were just kind of chilling around the Trainz booth, since a lot of us work with Trainz, and you could just go visit the Trainz booth, meet Matt, myself, or hang out with Jason Stuckert, RBP, Sid's Trainz, RJ, the whole shebang. All the folks are there, and the fact you just kind of walk up to someone, just say hi, and just talk Trainz a little bit, which is really nice. It's a very fun show.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I would love to. That, like I said, that's definitely something that I would like to do. I just have to figure out logistically how to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely got you. It definitely was a lot of planning from our side too, trying to get three of us from Chicago, driving to Chicago out to York, PA.
Oh my goodness. That's a drive.
It is.
I tell you what, it's a drive, but it actually goes a lot faster. I think we made it there in what? Although we end up losing an hour, but I think it was like around 10 hours, between 10 and 11 hours.
Oh, that's actually not
and
that
it's a
bad.
pretty straight east drive for us.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
I'll continue straight for like 400 miles. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, especially with one of the drivers likes to like drive 120 miles per hour. So, and I'm just jabbing at our friend, but actually, so speaking of going to even more train shows, is there something like I tend to ask people, like, is there like a holy grail piece that you're like on the lookout for? You're like, if I see this, I'm going to buy it on the spot.
So, kind of. You kind of had mentioned the Atlantic coastline earlier. Their E units and F units were big, iconic pieces of ACL, and that is, I'm looking for an AB unit to go onto my layout, but I have not had one come up in my price range in the correct condition so far.
Okay.
So that is probably my white whale, if you will. Like I would love to get one of their, and the E7A Atlantic coastline is probably my favorite engine out there. But then I saw the AB units, and so now I'm kind of torn between those two. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Doesn't Johnny? Doesn't Itasca have an ACL?
You know what? I don't remember, but it sounds like something that Tony would have.
We'll next time we go up there, we'll take a look for you.
Okay, cool.
And you can never have too many pasture diesels, as Matt's collection has proven.
Yeah.
You should always have passenger diesels available to run in your layout.
Yes.
I kid you not. We went over there to help him organize his stuff one day, and a buddy of and I we took every Santa Fe F unit or any F unit he had, and he has a gazillion A's and 24 B units, and we filled an entire bookshelf with just nothing but A and B units.
Wow.
Well, so there's a story behind that. So not to get off topic too much here, but since we're talking about passenger diesels, so my goal over the last several years, or at least when I started getting very heavily back into O-scale, was I wanted to own at least one of every Santa Fe passenger diesel out there, and I actually made it. So
wow,
it is a video. I'm working on a video, and I'm gonna do a video on all of them. But yes, I acquired one of each type out there. So, and again, that's not any kind of like brag or anything. Trust me, I've been doing this looking for these for quite a long time, and I have, and they're all like command control ones too. I do have a few. Post-war. Oh, I actually don't have any post-war Santa Fe. I do have some non-post-war. So I have some from like the set conventionally run. I have a couple of F units from an old rugged set back in the 90s. But yeah, so it was again, it was just a really goal of mine to collect these, and obviously I'm a big Santa Fe guy, so. So yep, keep looking. You know what? My whole advice on that is it'll come up eventually. Put your finders out there. Put your antenna up. They'll come up on eBay. They'll show up on Trainz. I think everything that I've almost always wanted has popped up on Trainz every now and then. And again, this is like not a Trainz commercial, although we do have a Trainz commercial. But anyway, you'll find it. It'll come up. Everything usually comes around. This is kind of a weird industry when it comes to finding things. Like I've kind of noticed that things will just eventually show up. You just have to be at the right place at the right time to snag it when it does.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's actually the girls' train was kind of my thing before, but we were going to a wedding in Nashville, and we stopped at a just small hobby shop on the way that had Trainz, and it was sitting in a display case, just ready to go. And it was the right price, and I was like, I need that. And that honestly was the first acquirement that we had that made me feel like a true collector of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's isn't it awesome? Like when you find those gems out there, especially in those smaller shops, or just sometimes you find them in places that like aren't really focused on Trainz, like antique shops or something like that. You can find a lot of great buys.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to be able to find it. And then, yeah, that was, like I said, that was my first real kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm a model train collector. Like I have this kind of rarer piece here that, again, RPB, RBP. I don't know what I just said. He did a video on it, and after I saw it, I was like, I need that train. And it was a few months later that I ran across it, and I was just like, I feel official now.
Just say that "Hey folks" guy.
Yes.
And then we all know who you're talking about.
The guy with the hair.
The guy with the hair.
The "Hey folks" hair guy.
Welcome back, folks. I only tease. Chris is a good buddy of ours.
Yeah, we had him on too. Yeah, we like Chris. He's a good friend of the podcast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that Coach Trainz.
He's also in the Discord.
Awesome. He is. He is. He will pop in the voice chat and hang out with folks from time to time. So keep an eye on that if you ever want to meet him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shameless plug for the Discord.
If I wasn't in it, I would have definitely joined for that.
All right, I have one last question, then I'll throw the microphone over to Johnny. So my last question is there anything you wish you would have known before you started in model railroading?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, probably how expensive the hobby is. That I kind of knew that though. But honestly, I don't know. Gosh, I
Sorry,
guess
I don't mean to put you on the
no,
spot.
no. I think not that anything would change, but if I would have known how all encompassing the hobby is, because it's not just collecting, it's doing the scenery and wiring, and you learn a whole lot. You learn carpentry, so you know I don't think I was prepared for everything that the hobby entails before I started. And I would not look back again afterwards. I absolutely love it. And I love everything that I've learned. And I have a great sense of accomplishment when I finish building something for the set, or, doing some designs and that kind of stuff. And it's, I don't know, getting under the layout and running all the wiring and stuff like that is fun too. So, but that probably would have been a good thing to know ahead of time, because I had no idea that I was going to have to figure out, or not me, but I guess my husband, have to figure out how to do all the wiring and all of that stuff, to make the trains actually run.
That's actually a really great answer too. I think it's good for folks to know that, this is definitely not a linear hobby. Like there are so many branching parts of this hobby that teach you different skills. Like you said, carpentry, electrical, working with smaller components. There's a mechanical part of it as well.
Yes.
And of course, we all have our own skills. I'm on the electrical side, no problem there. I consider myself pretty skilled in that department. On the woodworking side, not so much.
I was very lucky. My dad went to school to be a carpenter, so I had a built-in backup for that.
I'm telling you, like, if there is one person or if there is one job skill that you want to have a friend that does it, having or knowing somebody that's a carpenter is like a huge plus.
It really is.
I can't imagine working the layout without having I'm not a carpenter by any stretch of the imagination. But I can't imagine my layout had I not had my uncle help me with that. I would have been, oh gosh. I think I probably still would be on the floor, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with that, but I do like my scenery and having a table. It does have an advantage for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I had my brother help me. He's not a carpenter by trade, but he does HVAC and stuff like that, and he's a pretty handy guy. And he helped me, get the wood cut that I needed to cut and attach the, legs and everything like that. So, thanks, brother, for helping me there. Okay, well, that ends up the questions that I had. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the reins over to Johnny, and he can ask you his questions.
Sweet, thanks, Pat. I think I actually asked a decent chunk. I'm just kind of going through the show here, just us talking. But kind of talking about layouts and stuff. You did tease that you had a new project that you were going to attempt on the layout, and I think this is going to be a new scenery project. Did you want to elaborate more, or if you catch my drift on what we're talking about there?
Yes. So I am building a mountain on my layout. So in the most recent video that I posted, you can see the area behind me. We bought a Coca-Cola trolley and decided to do kind of an elevated loop on the layout. But the other stuff that I have planned out, I'm actually going to do 2 separate towns and a farm in the middle. And so having an elevated loop over all of that really didn't make sense. So we did just a closed loop for the trolley to kind of go in and out of the mountain. And it's going to be a pretty big one. Basically, just the front kind of third of the track is actually going to show out of the mountain, and everything else is going to be inside of it. I have never built a mountain before. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have a kind of a game plan, but it's going to be interesting. And I'm not quite sure how it's all going to fit together, but we're going to do it. So I'm very excited.
Those projects are always really fun. I remember when I did my mountain on my lab for the first time. I had no idea what I was doing. I was following one of Eric Siegel's tutorials like to a T, and also just kind of messing around with things. But they're very fun. Definitely a couple day project, but that's the kind of thing you want to do with the layout. It keeps you busy and challenges your skills. Recommendation if you're since you're doing a tunnel portion, if you haven't considered it already, access hatches or holes to try to, if anything derails. That's a big one that some folks tend to forget, and then you have big headaches later.
Yes, I actually do have a plan for that. We're going to do the mountain in 2 separate pieces, and the top piece is going to lift off completely if I need it to. So
Perfect.
Already thought of that.
Will we see more water features from the mountain by any chance? Since you seem to have a love for doing those. Any waterfalls, maybe?
It is possible. I haven't completely designed and thought out how I want to do the mountain yet. So there is very possibly going to be a water feature on it. It's going to be a lot of stone. I know that it's going to be more stone than shrubbery and trees and that kind of stuff. So there may be some running water down there.
Ooh, gotcha. That's going to be cool. I'm very excited for that. When you announced that in your last video, I got very excited. I was like, ooh, it's going to be a really fun video to watch.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's a whole thing to do. It's a huge project because it's probably going to be 2 to 2.5 feet tall. And it's basically, it's going to be huge. It's basically going to encompass that whole back corner of the layout. So it's quite the undertaking, but I'm excited for it.
That's awesome. I love having stuff like that. Just kind of have because for me, I work throughout the week, and on the weekends is my time to work on a project and I lay out. I find something and I try to fix something or do a scene that I've skipped, and it gives a sense of satisfaction once you're all done with it.
Absolutely, yeah. I do weekend stuff, and then that's one of my after work relaxation projects also. So
same here. Another thing I noticed about your layout that I really like, it's something that not too many people do. And it's something that Matt and I have in our labs, and I noticed you had one. You have a backdrop on your layout.
I do.
I thought that was really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, we got it on our original layout, which it's actually really funny because the first video I posted ever was the first layout run, and then let's see, and that was, I don't even know when that was, but then the next one I did, that was my updated layout run. By the time that video was posted, I had already torn down the layout. But we had decided, I can't remember one of the YouTubers had a video where they were putting up a backdrop in their train room. And I decided that I wanted it. And so we learned from that, because you learn a lot on your first layout and you learn what not to do. So my layout was already pretty much done, the old one, when we bought that backdrop. And one of the very valuable lessons we learned was if you're going to do a backdrop, probably try to install it before you finish your layout. So that was like the first thing that went up in the new train room. But it's just a vinyl, and I can't remember where we got it from. We bought it online somewhere. But it's just a vinyl backdrop, and we actually attached it with double-sided tape both times. So it was super easy to take down, and it's really easy to reattach if we need to, or reposition. But yeah, both times double-sided tape on the backside of the vinyl, stick it to the wall, and you're good to go.
Trainjunkies.com. Did you get it from them?
Yes, that's who it was. Yes.
That, in fact, it is interesting you say it, because that is where mine came from, and in fact, I believe that is where Johnny's came from as well.
Correct. Yeah, I actually just got one recently, and I had a hand me down from a buddy of ours, Sid's Trainz. I had one from him that he was supposed to use on his layout, but he just never ended up using it. I used that, but it's a beautiful backdrop. It's a giant Rocky Mountain scene, but the problem is it's on a lake. And, you don't want to see your trains drowning in a lake if that's not the scenery you want to look for. So I replaced it with a scene of Mount Shasta from Train Junkies, and everyone has a different method of putting up a backdrop. Double-sided tape is the most common, or just adhering it to the wall. I have a very unique situation where I have the electrical box on an unfinished basement wall, and I can't really finish my basement since it's my folks' place. So I ended up industrial strength velcroing it to the electrical box. But hey, I can take it down if I need to, and it works. So and I love how your backdrop looks on your layout. It really changes the look and kind of helps you get more immersed in the scene.
Thank you. We actually we painted our train room also kind of a sky blue, so where the backdrop isn't, it still hopefully kind of gives a nice illusion anyways.
For sure. That's awesome. Is there anything else that you're looking to add to the layout besides the mountain and other stuff like that?
As far as like big scenery things, I don't think so. I actually have a part of the new layout that I haven't shown yet, and that's another thing that I've been meaning to. But we have a train yard.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's really cool. So I had a train yard on the old layout, but it was very small. It was maybe 16 inches by maybe 24-ish inches. This one is quite a bit longer. I think it's 3 or 4 feet long. And so I want to feature that either on my Instagram or I do want to show it on YouTube too, but that's that was one of my first things that we got taken care of. And actually, I was listening to your podcast with PGH, and he was talking about his foam pieces that he does.
Oh, the Billy Flats, yeah.
Yeah, and I have 2 of those on my layout, actually. One of them is in my train yard. So I have the train depot building, basically, where you store trains in.
Mm-hmm.
I have that in the train yard, and then our layout is a southern layout, and I don't know if either of you have ever heard of Rock City, but it's in technically Georgia, technically Tennessee. It's like right on the border, and it's kind of an attraction in the area. Well, when it first opened, it opened during the Great Depression, and so their form of advertising for Rock City was to paint barns that said "See Rock City" and "See 7 states" and all this stuff, and they painted all these barns across the whole country to advertise people to come to Rock City. And so I have one of those on my layout also from him. So
that's
a barn
awesome.
That says "See Rock City." Yeah.
I'm not aware of that city, but I am aware of the Kiss song "Detroit Rock City." If that has any merit.
Yeah, those barns with Rock City on are very popular. I know. I think, if memory serves me right, I think RJ has one. I think a couple of the guys on YouTube have them. They're very, very popular.
Yeah. So we went to Rock City. We went and saw it. So after that, and I figured out like what it was, I was like, I need one of those barns for our layout right now.
Now this is going to be this is more so just me being a nerd kind of question, but are there any items from like your other interests that you want to incorporate? Like any some people like including like figures or little references to their other interests, like games or other communities that they're part of. Is there anything you'd ever want to sneak into your layout?
Yeah. And so I kind of already talked about it, but like, okay, so I have a very wide array of different things that I'm interested in, but so the penguin car is one of the ways that I'm sneaking my interests onto the layout. But yeah, I I don't know how I would incorporate some of this other stuff, like the World of Warcraft and Pokemon and that kind of stuff, but I might put some little Easter eggs in our downtown area. I did get a hobby store to go on the layout, so I could potentially incorporate some things around there on the layout that include my nerd things that I like to do.
No, I completely get you there. I did you, actually. This is a weird one for Lionel. Did you know Lionel made an official Pokemon set, like a
I,
starter set?
I have it.
You have it. How is it? I've
Yeah,
always been
she
curious.
she said that in the beginning.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. My apologies.
Oh no, you're good. I actually really like it. It's a steam engine, and then it has the car. So it has a car on it that there's two Pokemon chasing each other around, and it goes around as the train goes around. And I really like it. It's kind of more basic as far as some of the stuff that the other stuff that I have, but I really do like it. I think it's a really fun train, and especially for a starter set, I think it has a lot of really great features.
Oh, for sure. I remember a friend of mine who was not into trains. She saw that get announced on the official like Pokemon shop, and she's like, "Look, Lionel did a thing with Pokemon." I'm like, "What? No way, is this real?" And crazy enough, I see that set. I've seen that set show up at I'm into nerd stuff too. I go to conventions a lot. Saw a vendor at a convention selling one of those starter sets. Is the last place we expect to see Lionel trains, but
No
still
kidding.
cool. That's
All right, I have a little suggestion for you, Peachy.
Mhm.
So you build your mountain, okay?
Mhm.
You got your mountain built, all right? So on a very faint corner of it, build like a very small Thunder Bluff replica.
Oh, that is brilliant. I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm actually going to write that down.
I would be that would be so cool. So I had thought about incorporating something too, but my layout is a Midwest layout. I don't have any elevating or declining landscaping except for my elevated subway track. So, yeah, I'd be interested. Give that a think about that.
Yeah, I am definitely thinking about it. I think that's actually a really good idea.
That'd be really cool, though. I love doing little stuff like that. I think I did this for. I had a scene. I got a bunch of figures. I'm getting custom 3D printed. I think I want to make a little scene on the top of my mountain for that. But just kind of finding ways to sneak stuff in there and just kind of have your interests intermingle is always fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Is there anything you'd love to see done in the industry in terms of like train cars or stuff like that you think would be cool to see Lionel make?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, I'm still pretty new into it, so I'm still finding things that I didn't know have been made. So that's kind of a hard question for me.
Gotcha. My apologies there.
Oh, all good.
That's cool. Yeah, lots of fun stuff, lots of fun ideas, and that's the nice part about this community is that you can people help inspire each other with the ideas, and you can watch someone's YouTube videos like, oh, that's cool, I want to do that in my layout, or I didn't know that train existed, I want to get it, like you did with Chris and the girls train.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I do have to say, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit longer, I know that Lionel has partnered with Disney and they're doing their 100th anniversary stuff. But if they would do like an exclusive Beauty and the Beast something, I would be extremely interested in that.
There's actually funny you mentioned that. We have a guy on the Discord server. He's a good friend of ours. His name's Carmine. And he is buddies with he is a Disney enthusiast through and through, to the point where he even knows the Imagineers personally.
Oh wow.
And Carmine is the king of customs, especially for Disney. He has taken a bunch of the MTH, like early American engines, and has turned them into the park engines, has made engines that have the sounds, modified that have the sounds from the park. And in fact, turned one of them into a Beauty and the Beast themed one, where it's the color of her, I think it's her ball gown dress in the yellow.
Yes.
And then the steam dome is actually the glass dome with the rose inside. And then the tender, instead of having like logs, it's all the books.
Oh my gosh, if you could see my face right now, that is the coolest thing I think I've heard in a while.
He's on the Discord server. Did he post it on the Discord server, Johnny?
He probably did. He's I believe he's fairest of them all on Instagram. He posted all that stuff on there, but he is the king of Disney customs. Definitely recommend checking him out. He's just a fun guy to talk to.
Yes.
I mean, his name wouldn't suggest that at all, but you know, he's a big Disney guy.
Yep. Fairest _of_them_all_ST and the number 8 is Carmine.
I just found him and I am now following him.
Yeah, he makes great stuff and big Disney enthusiast. So if you ever want anything Disney made, he's the guy to talk to. He can make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That's good to know.
Yeah, of course. But
I did have something. I wasn't sure if you were done yet, Johnny, but I did have another question for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I don't think we touched on this at all, and it was something I wanted to ask you. We may have talked about it just briefly, but so you're brand new into model railroading. You know, obviously, you know, you create a layout. You're working with your husband and your dad, and you're going to shows. But like, what was your motivation by like just deciding to make a YouTube channel?
So to be fully transparent, I used to stream on Twitch when I played World of Warcraft, and I did not enjoy it very much. I did, but I didn't. I feed off of energy and feedback and that kind of stuff when I'm doing things. And so streaming to nobody is hard when you're first starting out streaming on Twitch. And I just kind of lost interest in that. But I do like interacting with people and I like being on social media and that kind of thing. And so when I had started watching some of these other YouTubers and doing their train stuff, I was like, hey, that's a really good idea because I can still be interactive and still be on social media and kind of do the things that I enjoy doing, but I'm not feeling like I'm talking to myself for, 6 hours. So that was kind of the initial like thought of it. And then kind of, like I said earlier, just reaching a different demographic that maybe some of these other aren't, women maybe will be more interested in the hobby if they see another woman doing it and enjoying it and having a fun time with it. And, that's why I kind of do a variety of videos too. It's not just running trains or whatever. I did a Christmas video. I did the Harry Potter one. I'm showing how I'm doing scenery and stuff like that because, like we said earlier, there's a lot of different ways that you can be involved in the hobby. And so I want to show that off too. And so I really just wanted to share that aspect of things. And then to be honest, I have some family that it's not easy to get them over to see our layout all the time. And so it's kind of nice to have them be able to just go in to YouTube and see what we're doing and kind of keep up with us that way too.
That's actually a really great idea. Using it as a connection piece for relatives or family members or friends who, you want to show them the hobby that you're working on, but obviously they can't always come over. So here you go.
Yeah.
So subscribe, mom and dad, subscribe to me on YouTube.
Yes, that was actually a mass family text that I put out to my parents and my sister. I was like, hey, go do this.
Yeah. And I can really relate to you on the Twitch part. It was something I originally had thought about as well. And it's a tough market. It is so saturated now.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, especially with World of Warcraft now, it's, again, I don't want to get into World of Warcraft, but it's obviously not at its peak that it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of like doing like videos and stuff, I've done a couple of streaming videos where I streamed Train Sim World a couple of times on my YouTube channel. It was a lot of fun. I actually had a decent amount of people come in. But it's a commitment. Like, it was like 2 or 3 hours. We're all busy with a million things.
Yeah.
So it's a very hard niche to create, but I think your answer is fantastic, is making a YouTube video. Well, you know what? I'm just going to film something I'm going to do anyway, right?
Yep.
So now you're pulling double duty on something, and it's so easy to take that and say, I'm enjoying this. It's fun. I bet you there are other folks out there that enjoy that. And I can tell you, there is a giant audience for folks in the how-to area for model railroading, because it is like you said before in the beginning, this is not a very linear hobby. There are so many skills involved, and we're not all masters of all these skills. So when we want to know how to do something, well, maybe somebody in the industry has done this, and I can see how they did it.
Yep. Yeah, and I like that it's on my own time. I kind of keep weird hours. I'm a night owl. But I also don't like getting on the computer or doing things until later at night. Like, so yeah, streaming for me just my hours did not coexist very well with that. But I do like that I can record a piece here, edit it together later and throw it up when I'm ready. So
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there that are excited to watch you and what's coming next on your video. So, obviously we wish you much luck in your in your YouTube career. It's a great place to be. I've been on YouTube for a long time. YouTube can be trolly, and I'll tell you a little advice. When you get your first troll, that means you've got there.
sounds good. I'll remember that.
You're like, I did it. So, somebody took the time out to troll me, or or whatnot. But I just tend to roll with the punches, and I accept people are going to come on there and make rude comments, and what are you going to do? But again, your name has been passed around in the Discord a few times. Hey, watch her. She's got a great channel. She's doing this, and obviously you've got a partnership with Trainz, and that's awesome. Of course, we also partner with Trainz, and we love everything that they do. And if we didn't believe in what they did, we obviously wouldn't be sponsored by them.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. It's really nice to hear that, people are, I see people responding and I see the views and everything, but it's nice to hear that, that it's having the effect I want it to. So
Are you, because I've only seen you on YouTube, do you have any plans, or are you kind of moving around or stretching out to other social platforms?
So right now I do have an Instagram as well. And those are the two main ones that I'm kind of on right now, is YouTube and Instagram. And I had thought about TikTok, but I am going to hold off on that until I find out if it's getting banned or not. So possibly.
I actually started a channel on TikTok, but I think I might have uploaded one thing. I don't think it's the platform for me, at least, or I don't know if there are people that are consuming content that I make that are on TikTok. My daughter is a TikToker, so she's definitely not looking for at least with the hobbies that she's interested in. It's definitely not model railroading related.
Yes, the only reason I even contemplated it, because I had that same thought, was that who's gonna watch this on TikTok? But I did run across a kid, I should say. He was like 14, I think, and he has a train TikTok, and he gets quite a lot of hits on it. So I was like, maybe.
There is definitely success to be had on there. We actually have one of our listeners in our Discord server. Another buddy, Greg. He has quite the following on there. He makes some very, very entertaining stuff. But it's definitely a hard demographic to reach on TikTok for sure, because it's its own culture. And I'm very used to the traditional like YouTube style content. That's what I'm not used to. So I don't think I could ever make the transition over.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of, I think still kind of young, but I am not, by any means I don't know. YouTube and Instagram are good for me right now. Those are platforms that I grew up with, that I know how to use.
Yeah.
Same.
Facebook too.
Yes.
I've had a lot of success. And the great thing about Facebook is because Facebook owns Instagram, when I post an Instagram post, it'll automatically post it to my, WC Model Railroad Facebook page.
Yeah.
So I kind of like 2 for 1 there when I want to post information.
That's not a bad
Or
idea.
1 for 2. I don't know. Whatever it is. But yeah, that's something to think about too. Facebook is a definitely a great place. It can be, there's obviously some dark sides of Facebook, but at least from the model railroading side and in some of the groups, and especially if you're interested in finding, ACL stuff,
Mhm.
there's a lot of great people selling items on Facebook, especially model railroading stuff. And I'll bet you'll be able to find and pick up a few ACL items.
That's actually a good idea. I think I'm gonna have to do that. Say ACL and I'm in.
Well, I didn't have anything else. I'll pass it back to Johnny if he had anything.
No, I think I'm through my the list of questions I could think of. I thought a couple more during the show, but I think I checked everything off my list. Unless Peachy, you want to bring up anything there?
I think we touched on pretty much everything that I had thought of. I had a couple ideas, and I think that we had kind of weaved our way through most of them. I think we hit pretty much everything.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and we're just over an hour here, so around where we usually are for these type of interviews. But I do want to take the time to say, number one, thank you for taking the time out to come on our podcast. We love bringing content creators on here and talking to them. Everybody has a different story, how they got started, the name of their channel, inspirations and stuff like that. So we like to hear people's stories. And then of course, number two, just to help people, get their name out there and, get people come onto their channel. So, again, folks, you can find Peachy on YouTube. You can find her on Instagram. We'll put her information in the show notes. Obviously, we're going to let Peachy discuss and give out her social media tags and stuff like that. But again, Peachy, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a blast having you on and talking to you. And we're really excited to see what stuff you're going to be bringing to the table with your channel. I'm very excited for your future content here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. It really does mean a lot to come onto your podcast. It was a very exciting thing. I won't lie to you. I kind of danced around and jumped up and down when I got the email from Trainz. So really, really thank you guys for that opportunity. It's really been a very humbling experience with kind of how quickly everything exploded for me on YouTube and everything. But you can find me on YouTube at peachystrains. Same with Instagram, and my trainz.com code is also peachystrains. So pretty much anywhere that you're looking for me, just type in peachystrains and you will find me.
Awesome. Johnny, how about yourself?
You can find me on YouTube at Audamus. That's Audamus. I've actually got a video in progress right now where I've actually been doing some scenery work myself and redoing my yard since it's been 2.5 years since I've touched that side of the layout and done some scenery. So if that's something you're interested in, subscribe to the channel and you'll see that showing up in your feed soon. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Audamus_Trainz. I post a lot of pictures of my progress, and I'm a lot more active on there than I am on YouTube. And last but not least, you can find me on Discord on the Matt and Matt O-Scale podcast Discord server. I'm usually scrolling through the chats, making comments about the daylights, and then making a fool of myself in the voice chat. So come on down. It's a lot of fun.
You can find me on YouTube at WC Model Railroad. I'm on Facebook as WC Model Railroad. And guess what? I'm on Instagram, WC Model Railroad. So pretty easy to find me out there. And I want to thank, obviously, all our listeners. You are the reason that we're doing this podcast. We wouldn't be doing it without you. We see the numbers, we see the downloads, and we really appreciate everyone taking the time to download and just kind of listen to us chat, because we love doing this and we want to continue doing it. So, and you can help us obviously by leaving some feedback. Let us know what you think. Go on our Facebook page. Go if you're using any kind of podcasting app. Some of them have ways of giving feedback, so you can give like stars or comments, write a review. All that stuff helps drive this podcast, drives the algorithm, puts us out there for more people to find us as well. So thank you to all the listeners of the Matt Podcast. And with that said, I wish everybody a wonderful night.
Take care, everyone.